him after his first game against Stoke.
And we interrupt this broadcast to bring you Dan Bayliss, who I think has got the bullshit.
Let's have a look at this.
I'm putting a caveat on it, though. If this gets picked up by HM Customs, you're all paying the fine with me.
Let's have a look at this then.
Genuinely shocking.
Let's have a look. Oh, wow. It looks turquoise there, doesn't it? I mean, people were comparing it to the beginning of The Simpsons, but...
The sleeves are bright yellow.
Yeah,
there's a comparison.
I think that's an advertisement right there why you should buy the actual official Wolves one from the club shop.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned my lesson. I won't be spending my £12.13 again on a China special.
I mean, but you have bought one every season. Every season you're disappointed.
And
By now you can have afforded a shirt.
The white one was good.
You can't go wrong with
I have got the real one. This is a real, genuine, from the club shop, pre-ordered Wolves
Don't
shirt.
try and back chat now, you cheapskate.
I do buy the real ones. I just wanted to see what it was like.
And it was rubbish. But the kit that has broken all records, just before we move on to the Man City game, is the third choice kit for this season. It carries a certain theme that has followed with a lot of our transfers, actually, which is a Portugal theme. And I got one straight away. As soon as I saw it, I thought, yes, I will actually spend £55 on that shirt. Has anybody else got it, though?
Yeah,
I haven't yet.
Are you going to, Harry?
Yeah, I will. I prefer it to the white one, the real white one, not the one Bayliss just showed. But it's. I'm glad Wolves are doing it because I think they're marketing geniuses at the moment. Obviously, they did the Mexico one last year. Everybody hates the fact we're signing all these Portuguese players, and just to play on it has worked a treat because obviously we've seen that it's one of the best-selling shirts of all time. I think they said so. I like it. I saw some complaints about the badge being like this. Not being the actual Wolves badge, but sod that. I really like it and I will be getting it. Definitely really like it.
I haven't yet, but I'm going to.
It's hugely popular. Came out Friday morning and within less than 24 hours it eclipsed the sales record set by last season's home shirt by 6%. So accumulated 117% more sales than the third kit that you mentioned there, Harry, the Mexico one, compared to last season. So it's clearly very popular. I don't think I saw a bad word said about it on Twitter, only by rival fans that were saying, oh, it looks like a Portugal shirt.
That's the point.
That's literally the point. What we'll do is move on to Manchester City, and we just thought, let's get the Stoke game behind us. And Jack, I know that you and I were feeling particularly good about this game, feeling quite excited about it.
Obviously, you should be excited when you're going to play one of the best two teams in the country, because that's why you want to be in the Premier League. But as the day went on, I just thought more and more into it, and I thought, you know what, I think we're going to get something. At first, I thought it was going to be very, really difficult. And then just before kickoff, I was like, you know what, I've seen the team, I've seen their team. I think we can get out that defence. And I fancy us to get something. And then my optimism was shortly followed by probably the biggest battering in a half of football that I think we've had since we returned to the Premier League. And that's no exaggeration. They absolutely battered us. We were lucky to go in 2-0 at half time. You can talk about the talking points and like Sace and everything, but they were on it and we weren't getting anywhere near them. And I think that 45 minutes of football shows how far we are away from not necessarily the top six, but the top two teams in the country, because that was incredible. The fact that we're even in with a chance in the last 10 minutes of the game, you know, it's amazing really, because they should have been out of sight.
Jack, I think I counted up the amount of time we actually had possession, and the longest we held the ball for in the first half was about 14, 15 seconds. Yeah. It's unreal. How insane is that? Like, I know we play without possession sometimes against the better teams, but we never had the ball for more than 2 or 3 passes.
They're unstoppable.
Rui Patricia in goal, Traore right wing back. And we said last week on the podcast that he's just not made for that position. Bolly, Cody, Sace, Marçal, Moutinho, Neves, Neto, Jimenez, Podence. It's a strong side, isn't it, Harry? And it didn't help, to be fair, that Marçal goes off injured after the sort of 8 minutes.
Yeah, and I also thought Vinagre wasn't very good when he came on. I agree, the first half was terrible, and I was fearing we could be losing 4 or 5-0 here. But fair play, because Nuno must have proper had to go to him at half time, because the early parts of the second half we were really good. We had a lot of chances. You could probably argue our finishing was terrible, which I'd agree with. Raul had a few, Podence had that chip, but when we get the goal from the header from Raul, I'm thinking then we could actually nick a result here, but it wasn't to be. But because of the second half, I'm not as worried as I'd have been if it had carried on like that for the whole game. So yeah, the starting team was probably our strongest at the moment, but obviously we know we've got players to come in. So on the whole game, you can take positives out of it because of the second half.
Jack, in terms of the overall performance of the second half, I know we were talking a lot about last season about how Wolves are a second half team, and sort of against Sheffield United, we were saying exactly the opposite with 2 goals in the first 6 minutes. But did you see glimpses of what this side could do? I mean, Harry mentioned it there. I think we were very, very disappointed. I think I was anyway with some of Jimenez's finishing because you just didn't see him on it, but then he scored a great header.
Yeah, second half was more like the Wolves that we've grown to know and love, particularly against the big teams and the top 6 teams. And we created chances. I just think that although we got the goal, I think we got it a little bit too late. If Podence would have converted that one where he tries to sort of lob the keeper, or if Jimenez had put that one in when Traore cuts it back, I think that probably gives us a bit more time to get back in the game then. But it was country miles ahead of where we were in the first half, when we were just second to anything and we just couldn't contain them, and they pressed us every time we had the ball and forced us into making silly mistakes. And I know you were saying, Sam, that just our passing on the way we're keeping the ball was just not like us at all, because we were giving it away so cheaply, which usually I think it just honestly did panic us a bit, and it was getting frustrating. But yeah, it wasn't all doom and gloom, which at halftime I thought it was going to be, and I thought we were in for a right battering. So he's done well to go in and turn it around, like he always seems to, Nuno, at halftime when he talks to them, and we can still go away with our heads held high, I think.
Bayliss, have you ever seen a Wolves side under Nuno give the ball away that much?
No, to be perfectly honest, I haven't, but I don't think I've seen us be pressed like that with that level of quality before either.
Yeah.
Cliche, I know it is, but game of 2 halves. And I thought the way they came out in the second half and the way they reacted was very good. So, although the first half was a disaster, whether you want to call it poor from Wolves or exceptional for Man City, either way, it was a disaster. But the second half, we showed really well of ourselves. A bit more clinical with the finishing. If we'd have done that 10 games into the season, I think it would have been a different result. We could have been looking at a 2-2 rather than a 3-1. So I think there's plenty to take from the game from our end. I'm not entirely disappointed by it. It just shows the quality that City have. And when they go and batter a team, I think if that was Leeds, that's 6-0. So
Harry dropped down to bloody 12th.
Oh dear. Just on the performance as well, I just want to mention the only negatives as well I want to mention, obviously the first half was bad, was kind of defensively. I think Willie Bolly's looking a bit dodgy at the moment. 2 bad performances in a row. I know Stokes for the League Cup or whatever, and he's got a Dharma in front of him, but also Sace went from hero to zero, didn't he, after diving in against De Bruyne for the first goal. But hopefully the defence can improve a bit. Rare I say this, but Cody was probably the best defender on the night out of the 3 at the back, which that's 2 weeks in a row I've praised Cody now. The left wing back position, slightly worrying. I hope Marcel is not too serious, because I love Vinagre. I'm one of his biggest fans, really, but he had a really awful night in terms of just doing about 1 million step overs and not doing much with it, and not the best defensively either. But we were playing Man City. You got to remember that. They had some catching up to do, didn't they, after starting the season late? So no disgrace losing to them, but we need to sort out some individual performances at the back. Although we did keep a clean sheet against Sheffield United, still a bit of a worry with the likes of Bolly and Say, so I thought.
It's definitely my fault that Bolly had a shocker, because I bigged him up on that video with the Man City.
Yeah.
And
oh God.
Everything I say, the opposite happens. So,
well, you'd done with Joe Media a combined Wolves 11, so they